Good evening. I want to welcome everybody to the Dayton Unit NAACP 2018 annual meeting. I greet you on behalf of all of the members, across the great Dayton Unit NAACP spectrum. We are a very proud organization, 7 year in a row, Thalheimer Award winner. That's the highest award that any local unit can receive from the NAACP nationally. But it's because, yes, go ahead. But it's because of all of the citizens in Dayton, Ohio, that has helped us do what we do as an organization. So with that, we're going to open up it with a word of prayer, and we're going to ask that our first Vice President lead us in an open word of prayer, as well as to bless the food.
Let us pray. Our Father God and our Savior, Jesus Christ, we come to this hour and this time. We thank you, first of all, Lord, for allowing us to be able to come out here to this gathering. And Lord, we pray for those who are here today. And Lord, we just thank you that you've been able to be with us throughout the year, 12 months, and here we are as we get ready to close out our session, NAACP session for this year. And we give you all praises, glory, and honor. And Lord, we ask your continued blessing upon all our leaders here, our president and his cabinetry, and all those ones that are involved in doing what we can do to make this better, a better city and a better place for everyone as we challenge them on certain issues for an unfairness. And Lord, we just pray for this meeting this evening, that everything we do it decent and in order, and that when we leave here, Lord, you'll be proud of what we do, and let us, be on one accord. And Lord, as we come together later to break bread and eat a physical food, we ask your blessing upon it, that it may be nourishment to our bodies, and that it would provide us with the strength and health that we need to continue to do your will. And in Jesus' name, we ask all these blessings. Amen.
All right, thank you. So if you did not receive an agenda, the agendas are located back to my left if you did not receive one. So you see the agenda, and the Bible says to pray for your leaders, which we had an opportunity to just do. And we want to make certain that each one of you, as you are in leadership positions in your respective rights, in the organizations that you lead, that each one of you all are leaders, and we want to make certain that any and everything we do, we start off with prayer, as we just did. In terms of our meeting norms, our meeting norms has not changed. This report will be on our website. So probably tomorrow, if you want to go out and take a look at this report in its entirety, you will have an opportunity to do that. What is our vision? Our vision is to fulfill the dream of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by capitalizing on the second A of the NAACP, which stands for what? What does it stand for? Advancement. It says the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So that is our vision. So this time we're going to have our secretary to come up and do the reading of the minutes. Madam Secretary Claire Thompson.
Armed Services and Veterans Affairs Committee presentation was on Monday, November the 26th of 2018. The meeting started at 6:08 p.m. Prayer was offered by Herman Branham. Roll call of attendance was read by Madam Secretary Claire Thompson, along with the previous minutes. President Ford moved for the adoption for the reading of the minutes. Deborah Smith so moved. C.K. Williams second. The motion carried. Treasurer's report. Treasurer Cedric McGee read October's budget report of 2018. Treasurer Cedric McGee moved for the adoption of the budget report. Tom Roberts second. The motion carried. Vice President's report. Third VP Willie Terrell was unavailable for reporting. Second VP Tom Roberts, there was no written report, but he always provides a verbal. Suggested to the community to write U.S. senators concerning opposition, concerning stand your ground, laws that were recently passed. Tom Roberts conveyed he has an interest in recruiting more youth for the AXO committee. Roberts also conveyed how delighted he was of the voters' turnout and the part that the NAACP played in getting the community to the polls. Roberts took time out to thank various committees and groups throughout the area for participating in the effort. Roberts expressed his elation of the voters' outpouring help in getting the House of Representatives back under the control of the Democratic Party. First VP Reverend Herman Branham, there was no written report, but he too also provided a verbal. Expressed his joy about the voter turnout. President's report. President's report is always available for the public. Dr. Forward requested that the committee chairs send information about when they are out in the community participating in activities that reflect community support and initiatives. The information will keep the NAACP's website, fresh. Dr. Derek Forward announced the annual meeting to be held Monday, December the 17th of 2018 at 6 p.m. Dr. Forward requested the executive committee chairs go to the NAACP website to complete the presidential survey. President Ford moved for the adoption of the report. Herman Brannon accepted. Tom Roberts second. The motion carried. Old business, there was none by the executive committee. New business, there was none by the executive committee. The general public, the topic would like to see African language brought into the school system. Another topic that was brought up would like to have open forum with the police concerning comments made about Colin Kaepernick. Nicole Miller, RTA driver representative, spoke about future upgrades with the company to make commutes smoother, faster, and more convenient for the riders. Dr. Derek Ford asked the community to take time out and browse the NAACP website to keep it fresh. Updates, meeting adjourned at 6:43, and that will conclude the reading of the minutes.
You heard the reading of the minutes. I entertain a motion to accept and/or receive the minutes. Moved by Chair Lady Hill, second by Chairman Ayo Ngunduyule. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Good evening, everybody. The Treasurer's report for the month of November, our regular membership, $300. Life membership, $200. Our Freedom Fund, $14,950. Scholarships, $1,000. And that totals $16,000, a monthly income of $16,450. Our expenses for the month is $43,186. And this leaves us with an expense difference of $26,736, with a balance in the bank of $126,790.19 as of the end of November. That is my report. I'd like to move for the adoption of my report.
Second. It's been probably moved in second, second by Assistant Treasurer Jamie Rippey. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Treasurer McGee, do you want to kind of explain to people about this right here?
So I just went over the financial report. And as treasurer, what I do is I submit an annual financial report to the NAACP Finance Department on a timely basis. I provide transparent information to organizations, stakeholders, members, community, business, and government agencies so potential donors can understand the organization's business and how well resources are being managed. I've worked with President Forward and the Finance Committee to develop an annual budget, as well as exercise good stewardship within the organization regarding the revenue and expenses incurred against the initial budget. And I've prepared monthly statements for organization members. I've stayed knowledgeable of the organization's financial policies in accordance with the NAACP's Constitution and bylaws, for the units.
Thank you, Treasurer McGee. And as you're going to hear inside of my report, as it relates to the work that he has done and his financial stewardship, you're going to be able to see how even before him, because we're going to date back to the President's report as it relates to 2007. So, President's report. Okay, so with the President's report, if I can find it here, there is a budget surplus of $76,142 from January 1, 2007 to the end of November 30th, 2018. So from a financial stewardship standpoint, working very closely with the Finance Committee, those are the kind of results that we have delivered this organization during my tenure in office. Personally, I've raised over close to $14,000 in membership money, November 30th, 2018. You recommend that the transportation, room expenses, food costs, and other miscellaneous expenses be paid for the President and First Lady Ford to attend an annual meeting next year in February. That is an annual meeting that we go to every year. You held a meeting with the DPS Interim Superintendent Elizabeth Lobley and the Education Chair Lady Loretta Williams to discuss proposed school closures. You may have remembered that from early on. Conducted a listening forum with concerned citizens, administrators, teachers, parents, and students to receive input from their perspective. Provided their collective recommendations to the Dayton School Board. So actually went before the Dayton School Boards to provide a very comprehensive plan that that citizens came up with from all across the spectrum of our community. And they organized a meeting on Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 with representatives of Aldi Incorporated, Springfield Division, Neighborhood Over Politics, who's represented here this evening, Northwest Priority Board, Miami Valley Organizing Collaborative, and the Dayton Unit NAACP to discuss future closing of Aldi West Town Shopping Center location. While we were not able to save the Aldis, but you're going to hear a victory that came out as a result of that a little bit later on. On behalf of the citizens of the city of Dayton and throughout Montgomery County, Ohio, organized a meeting with representatives of the Premier Health, SCLC in Dayton, Northwest Priority Board, members of the Dayton Unit NAACP, and over 200 community stakeholders to have open dialogue regarding the future closing of Good Samaritan Hospital. The community forum was held on Saturday, February 10th, 2018 at Zion Baptist Church. And that is something that we're still advocating for, Good Samaritan Hospital. And also met with the Career Development Services Director of the Dayton Job Center, along with their business community liaison, to conduct a tour and speak with many students at the Dayton Job Corps about the NAACP. I would encourage any and everybody to go and visit the Dayton Job Corps. They have some dynamic programs up there from citizens and for the youth that's up there participating. And it's a very nice campus, and I would encourage you to go up there and spend some time with those students if you have an opportunity. Organized a legislative day meetings on March 16, 2018 with Congressman Mike Turner, along with Hillary O'Shilton, our Senior Vice President for Advocacy and Policy and Director of our NAACP Washington Bureau. Also met with the office staff of Congressman Al Green and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee to ask them about serving as keynote speakers of our Freedom Fund banquet. But however, we did end up having a phenomenal speaker. We didn't get one of them, but we did have, well, you'll hear that later on during the other report. Organized a meeting with Interim Trotwood Superintendent Tyrone Overson, along with 2nd VP Tom Robertson, Education Chair Loretta Williams, to discuss Trotwood City Schools' path forward as a state takeover hung in the balance. And as we know, that state takeover did not happen, and we're happy about that. And now we're working with Dayton Public Schools very vigilantly to ensure that it doesn't happen to Dayton Public Schools in the future. So with that, I move for adoption of my report with said action item. Moved by First VP Branham. I heard a second by Burnett DeCoux. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. First VP Branham.
On my religious affair report, as you can see there on the screen, I work with the Dayton Baptist Pastors and Ministers Union here in Dayton, Ohio, to seek their involvement with the Dayton unit NAACP. I moderated here a monthly community meeting back here, I think it was in March or April, and it was titled Juveniles, Male Violence and Crime, because we have a lot of that's going on within our community and outlining areas. Also, I helped plan the 2,000 men march against domestic violence in West Dayton and participated in a meeting about the closing of Aldi's, a grocery store in the West Town Shopping Center. I served as a guest on a Dayton NAACP update TV show to discuss the pros and cons of owning a minority business, participated in a news conference to voice the Dayton unit NAACP support of issues 1 and 6, participated in news conference with state legislators concerning the proposed demolition of Good Samaritan Hospital, and also provided rides to the polls on election day and also made calls to remind people to go to vote. And these people, they was very excited and happy that they saw us participating and calling to make sure that everyone had a ride to go to the polls on election day. And last but not least, I thank you for your confidence of vote in electing me to serve as a 4th term as the first vice president of Dayton NAACP. And also I'd like to say, during this season, let us remember the reason for this season. Let us keep Christ in this season, okay? Even though we'd have a good time, but remember, if it hadn't been for Christ, there would be no Christmas. Not with an X-M-A-S, but C-H-R-I-S-T-M-A-S. Amen. I'll ask for adoption of my report at this time, please.
It's been moved to accept First VP Branham's report. Is there a second? Second by third VP Terrell. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Second VP Roberts.
We held a very successful candidates night on September 24th. We had 23 candidates show up. We had over 140 people participate in the audience. The Deltas and the AKAs helped collect questions, and they were timers for the event. For me, this year was a very excellent, successful story because it established a permanent relationship between the Pan-Hellenic League and Montgomery County. We did several things. We established the church captains in many of the churches, something we've been trying to do for years. We had a large turnout at the candidates night. The Deltas asked me to facilitate an issues forum called Cocktails and Conversations. We had a partnership that was very fruitful, and the committees we help organize, I think, will help us in our future endeavors. So I want to do a great big shout out to the Pan-Hellenic League for working with us this year. On election day, we gave 27 rides to the polls, and we also did over 150 phone calls to remind people to vote and ask them if they needed a ride to the polls. Let me just give all of you a shout out in 3 areas. One was your calls to the senators stopped Thomas Farr from being appointed to the district court. And for those of you who don't remember who Thomas Farr is, he was an attorney for Lester Maddox. And so he did everything he could to suppress the vote in North Carolina. And your calls to our state senators helped remove the stand your ground provision from the bill that was pending before the state Senate. Yes, go ahead. Yeah. So, Mr. President, I ask for adoption of my report with no action items.
It's been probably moved in second by third VP Terrell. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor. Oh, question. Is there a question on the motion?
This might be an addition. You are also going to be involved with the team building project. We eventually wanted to
All right, thank you. Any other on readiness? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Third VP Terrell.
Praise the Lord, NAACP. You can do better than that. Praise the Lord, NAACP. Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I begin my report, I'd like to make a couple of acknowledgments. As you know, or if you don't know, NAACP partners with all of the churches. And I'd like to say thank you to my pastor, Reverend Rodney Cranford. Pastor Cranford, stand. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do at First Baptist Church. Also, Arnetta Gary, will you please stand? Arnetta just buried her dad on December 13th. Everyone point your hand at her and say, you are in our prayers. You are in our prayers. Thank you, Arnetta. Scholarships were awarded at the 67th Freedom Fund banquet. The scholarship applications were sent to the area high schools in Montgomery County the first week in September. And then there was a follow-up call by Tracy Carr to make sure they received those scholarships. Scholarships were emailed to all the executive board members. In order for each student selected to receive the scholarship award, he or she must show proof of graduating, proof of acceptance to a college or university, and each student will receive that award at the July 2019 NAACP meeting, general membership meeting. Kevin M. Buck, a student at Stivers School for the Art, won the Speedway Scholarship for $600. He will be attending The Ohio State University. Jaden Allen Hurt, a student at Stivers School for the Art, won the Jesse O. Gooding for $1,000. He will be attending Howard University. Chanel Works, a student at Jefferson High School, won the Laverne Gooding Scholarship for $1,000, and she will be attending the University of Cincinnati. Kendall Nicole Jones, a student at Cyber for the School of Art, won the Miley O. Williams Scholarship for $1,000, and she will be attending Howard University. Now, those of you that were at the Freedom Fund banquet will remember that was her birthday, so that was the biggest birthday gift she ever got. And then also Tanea Bailey, a student at the Dayton Early Academy, DECA, won the Dr. Derek L. Ford Visionary Leadership Scholarship for $1,500. She will be attending the University of Dayton. Dr. President, I move my report.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second by Second VP Roberts. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. So as these individuals are coming, you can make your way down the President Hayes with the Little John Junior Youth Council and President Tanea Bailey with the Dayton Youth Council. So as you all are coming down, and then after them, we will hear from Move Forward Thurgood Marshall, so if you can make your way. But as they are coming, I just want to acknowledge the presence of Commissioner Jeff Mims, who's also a life member of the Dayton Unit NAACP. Stand to be recognized. And then we also have Reverend Dr. Robert C. Walker, School Board. Stand to be recognized. Also a life member, him and his wife are both life members of the Dayton Unit NAACP. And then we also have Mark Wells, past potentate. Please stand to be recognized. So we partner with the Shriners and the Masons as well. So now we're going to hear from our youth and President Bailey and President Hayes. And okay, thank you very much. We have a former president of the Dayton Unit NAACP, Floyd Johnson. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for that, Reverend Isle.
Hi, I'm President Bailey.
Hi, my name is President Hayes.
Okay, we participated and conducted several voter registration drives at the Dr. Martin Luther King March and Rally, the Black History Month program in February, 2018 Women's March, the Dayton African American Cultural Festival, Juneteenth celebration, and some others I don't think that were on the list. And Donna, go ahead.
Provided school supplies at our Back to School, Stay in School event. Attended the NAACP 109th Annual Convention for Training and Development Purposes. Participated in the Festive Giving at the Dayton Convention Center. This was the 11th year in a row. Donated toys and clothes to families for Christmas.
We would like to move for adoption of our report.
Okay, it's been probably moved in second. It was second by, I think that was second VP Roberts. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Let's give our youth a round of applause. Okay, now we're going to hear from our high school chapter. Move forward, Thurgood Marshall, and that's by ways of their advisor, Nathan Shields.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name's Nathan Shields. Big news for us was the election of myself as the new advisor at Thurgood Marshall for our outgoing advisor, Lieutenant Colonel retired Claudia Mason, who's now teaching over at Meadowdale. So she passed the torch along to me, and I'm very proud and excited to continue what she's built with Dr. President Forward. And we're looking forward to a really good 2019. This year we focused on fundraising strategies for the youth and things that they're interested in doing, as well as trying to engage our underclassmen so that as we have juniors and seniors exiting, we will be able to continue with freshmen and sophomores coming up interested in the NAACP. We also, with Miss Loretta Williams, actually the chair lady of the Education Committee for the NAACP, we focused on an anti-apathy case study that is still ongoing at the high school. We are trying to identify areas where students are feeling that they don't want to be engaged at the school. And so we're focusing a lot on extracurriculars. That seems to be one of the things that pops up, that they want more and pertinent extracurriculars for their interests to help them stay engaged and be academically oriented with the school. And so that's pretty much all for me. Thank you so much. I move for adoption of my report.
Is there a second? Second by First VP Branham. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Even though his president is not here, let's give Move Forward Thurgood Marshall High School chapter a round of applause. Thank you. So in this order, and if you can make your way down, we want Chairman Scott Sliver, Communications, Press, and Publicity. Cedric McGee, Chair of AXO. Ina Green, Chair of Membership and Life Membership. In that order. So if you can come in that order, please. And all of the committee reports, we will actually receive all the committee reports at the end, so no need to move your reports as committee chairs.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody wave. Come on. All right. I'm the communications guy, so got to have a selfie. My name is Scott Sliver, and I'm chair of Communications, Press, and Publicity. I run the Twitter account and assist with Facebook and other issues. Our number of Twitter followers in 2018 went from 295 to 414. I'd like to see that number up over 1,000. So if you think I'm happy with that increase, I'm not. I want it to be over 1,000 next year. That's my goal. I promote the regular monthly meetings, press conferences, activities, voter registration, election day efforts, and of course the annual Freedom Fund banquet. We also brought attention to numerous other events and issues and concerns, way too many, too numerous to mention here. We, as an account, we were liked and retweeted by the President and CEO Derek Johnson, and also had tweets liked and retweeted by the National NAACP and multiple other units all across the country. One of the highlights for me personally was assisting with the National NAACP social media team at the national conference in San Antonio. by providing coverage for various aspects of the conference. That's a huge show of trust and great exposure for our unit. But it's certainly not as important as what we do right here in Dayton. Amen? It's just really cool. I mean, I got to stand this close to President Clinton, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome. I also got to write an article about the convention that ran in the Dayton Weekly newspaper and the Dayton Daily News, and hosted 2 Dayton Unit NAACP Update TV shows on DATV. Those are available on YouTube. We did one about business and one about education. Those are easy to find. And there you go. That's my report.
Thank you, Chairman Sliver.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Up next, we have Chairman, in fact, hold on for a second, Chairman McGee. I will read the next report, which is for our Community Coordination Committee Chair, Marvine Mitchell. Thank you, sir. The vision statement of the Community Coordination Committee is to develop forums to establish open dialogues pertaining to community issues. She held a partnership with Montgomery County Development Services, Workforce Development Department, and the Panhandle Council. We held our 3rd annual career job fair. As a result of that job fair, the Dayton Unit NAACP 3rd annual job fair, there were 110 participants in attendance. 20 interviews were conducted on site. 15 people were hired in full-time positions. 18 were placed in part-time permanent positions, and 25 were enrolled in a WIOA TANF training program. So that was our 3rd annual job fair, and we look forward to that job fair continuing in the future. Chair Lady Mitchell actually has assumed another, NAACP actually breeds leaders, in fact. If you think about, Commissioner Shaw, who served as our economic development committee chair for a number of years. He now sits on city council or city commission. Judge Mia Wortham Spells also served for 10 years as our legal redress chair, now as a judge in Dayton Municipal Court. And now our own Marvine Mitchell is now taking on basically a tremendous role with Montgomery County under the new administration. So we want to continue to work with the county, with the city, as well as with everyone else as we do partnerships to make our Dayton community strong. So with that, Chairman McGee.
First of all, I want to acknowledge a couple of AXO people in the audience. Dr. Carl Moeller and his wife, and former assistant Marlene Johnson. And I would get in trouble if I don't acknowledge my mother sitting right next to them. So, all right. The AXO program is a youth program. AXO, if you don't know, it stands for Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics. And it sent 4 local gold medalists to compete in a national competition, basically a national talent competition in San Antonio, Texas. And the students were inspired on their trip in San Antonio, Texas. We didn't bring any gold medals home, but we brought home a lot of wisdom. They learned in the master classes and workshops. They got to meet Blackish sitcom artist Yard Shahidi, and got to meet Kaylin Allen, the syndicated comedian on the Ellen DeGeneres Show. And AXO is all about community. We've partnered in the past with NAACP's Back to School Rally, the Kwanzaa celebration at Sinclair, and Community Pride cleanup. We've done power lunches with some schools. So AXO meets on Tuesday nights. This year we'll be meeting at Ponit. And our last year we met at Duke Ellis. And this year we'll meet, we'll have our local competition on April the 6th. We had 7 students last year that were awarded local medals, and 4 awarded gold medals to compete nationally. And so that's my report. We look to do some great things in Detroit, Michigan.
All right. Another youth program in the Dayton unit, NAACP's Armory. And there's just some pictures. We call that a bonus slide, of them in action at the National EXO competition in San Antonio, Texas. Cheerleader Ina Green. So as she makes her way, education is after that. So we're going to have our assistant treasurer, who is highly focused on education, so she's going to fill in for Loretta Williams, and she's going to do that report. Cheerleader Lou Dell, if you can make your way over Freedom Fund. And after Lou Dell, we're going to have Reverend Dr. David Fox for criminal justice, and Kathy L. Parson, chairlady over labor and industry, in that order. So if you can make your way. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm going to start out with, this is my first year as being the official membership and life membership chairperson. And I'm really enjoying it. It's a challenge because it's a lot to learn, but it's fun. In November 2018, which is year to date, our membership is down 0.45% versus the prior year. And I'm going to work on that with your help. November 2018, year to date, we had 169 yearly regular paid members. This is the members that pay $30 a year on their expiration date, and they pay that every year. It's just a regular membership, and we appreciate that. November 2018, year to date, we had 60 subscribing life members. And yes, and that seems like a long time, but it's really not. It goes by quickly. November 2018, year to date, there were 18 fully paid life members. I held a membership drive at Summit Christian Church for a period of around 3 weeks, and I collected 12 memberships. That is my church, and I'm still working on them, so we should do good. Implemented a weekly reminder by inserting a communications in my church bulletin to ask people to renew or join the Dayton unit in NAACP. Now, as I go into this, I'm going to start working with some of the churches that you can also get involved in having church members join their church as the NAACP. So you'll be hearing from me. Now tonight, I'm doing something a little different. This is an application for the NAACP, and it's for general membership and the different life memberships. If you would like one of these forms, you can take it with you tonight, and you can mail it to the NAACP, or if you've got your money tonight, you could give it to me, and I'll make sure that they get it. So these are applications just for tonight. So this ends my report, and I move for adoption of my report.
We are going to move for adoption of all committee reports at the end. Thank you very much, Chair Lady. Okay, so at this time, and like I said, please, as you come up to the mic, please speak into the mic so everybody can hear you. Make certain that we're all getting the information. And please, ladies and gentlemen, show our committee chair some love up here. And if there's a hand clap, let's hand clap, and so on and so forth. So we know you're engaged and not just waiting on that food over there. So, Outback Steakhouse is going to be here. They ain't going nowhere. So, all right, so we're going to have Assistant Treasurer Jamie to come up and give the education report. Then we're going to hear from Chair Lady Dill with Freedom Fund, then Reverend Dr. David I. Fox with Criminal Justice, and then after that, Kathy Parson with Labor and Industry.
Good evening, I'm Jamie Rippey. How are you doing this evening? Good. Good. So I'm just reading the report on behalf of Loretta Williams on the Education Committee. So the Dayton NAACP moderated community meetings titled School Closings each month. Also, they facilitated a Dayton Unit Oversight Committee to make recommendations for the next steps on the proposed closing of 9 schools, which the first one took place at the Reverend Carter's Church. And then next, they established quarterly meetings with Superintendent Lally and President Dr. Ford. And then we also participated in the Ohio Board of Education Content and Fairness Committee to examine and revise the state testing items. And then lastly, we participated in the Every Student Succeeds at workshop. This is a committee report for education. Thank you.
And hold on for a second there. I want you all to remember this face right here. She has served faithfully as our assistant treasurer. She's going to be moving on to do some bigger and better things down the road. And she has a heart for education. So I just want each one of you to look at her and just kind of remember that name. What is your name?
Oh, Jamie Rippey. Jamie
Rippey. Can we say Jamie Rippey? Okay, so just remember that name down the road. Thank you very much. All right, Chair Lady Dill.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. President. Good evening, everybody. This is the day that the Lord has made. And even though we're here, we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Because I'm going to share some very important information with you. My name is Lou Dale. I think that has been said, but just in case. And I struggle with the Freedom Fund Committee for the NAACP. So what I want to share with you this evening is our progress reports, some of the things that we have accomplished. And before I mention any of them, I want you to know that we could not have accomplished any of them without your help and your support. And always know that we thank you very much. We were very fortunate this year to get a great speaker. And I know those of you that attended will attest to that. We were able to get the Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony as the keynote speaker excuse me, out of Detroit. Did many of you get a chance to hear him? All right. Yes, let's give it up. And we are in the process of looking for other great speakers. So if we have any great speakers even in the house right here, let us know. Or you can help us do some research and share with us. Let me just break down a few points for you. And I would ask you to really listen carefully because I want to come back to some of them. We have different categories. And we have, for the platinum level sponsorship, we received 3 this year. Now, we're very grateful for the 3, and we couldn't make it without whatever we have. But I must tell you that we are down a little bit. And I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about that. We have the diamond level. Get away. Leave me alone. That we have 1, and of course that's we were able to get a diamond level sponsorship. The gold level, we got 5. Usually we get more than that. So if you're interested in statistics, we were down a little bit, just a little bit on that, 15%. And the bronze level sponsorship we received 24. We were up on that one. We were up about 4%. And all of this is versus last year's report. Organizational levels. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Organizational level sponsorship, 24%. Oh, that helps a lot. Thank you very much. The souvenir journal ads, this is not included in the corporate sponsorship. We got about 75 of those, and that was down just about 1%. So, you know, we are grateful, and I said earlier, we're thankful, but I want to turn to you and ask you, as you listen to this stat, note that there are areas where we are down. Now, that doesn't mean that we were not working hard. We always are working hard. We need you too to hang in there with us. We need you, if you know of any corporate sponsors or organization, let's talk about organizations. You know, there isn't any reason that I can think of why all of these organizations are not connected with us. I'm looking at you, Mr. Potentate. But anyway, I'm looking at others too. Also, all of our organizations, Mason and what have you, please come forward next year when you receive our information. Please don't hesitate. Support, because this is how we turn around and give back to you. We support you, and all of these persons here, they have to go for training. You don't want somebody sitting up here that don't know anything and then trying to run your organization. So they have to go and be trained, you know, even though he's been around a long time, but he still has to be brought up to par on what is current. And that takes money. So then that's where we turn around to you. If you know of where you work, where you play, anybody that you can think of to help support the NAACP, because we serve everybody, pink, black, green, white, yellow, whatever. That's what we do. So I want to again thank all of you for everything that you've done, and I look forward to working with all of you again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lady Dale. So as Reverend Fox is coming up, if Chairman Lepla, Chairman Winburn, and Chair Lady Smith can make their way. Chairman Lepla, Chairman Winburn, Chair Lady Smith, in that order. Chairman Fox.
I'm going to be obedient and just take my 2 minutes. Served as chair of the Civil Rights Subcommittee to the Justice Committee for the Montgomery County Jail. And matter of fact, I just came from a meeting with that just a few minutes ago. A guest lecturer for University of Dayton Criminal Justice Lecture Series, Community Police Relations. Graduated from the Dayton Citizens Police Academy, which was kind of exciting after I didn't graduated from three police academies, but I would recommend everybody in here to go and be a part of the Dayton Police Academy for the citizens, because you can learn a whole lot. Guest speaker during the Ponus Career Technology Center observation of student national walkout in protest of gun violence. Conducted 45 formal investigations, i.e. police abuse, police misconduct, malicious prosecution, search and seizure violations, overcharging, warrant violations. 43 cases closed, 2 cases remain open. Case work investigated, and in November of this year, we're down 24% versus previous year. That's 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Fox. And that was criminal justice. So now you're going to hear from labor and industry. Chair Lady Parson.
Hi, in case you didn't get, my name is Kathy L. Parson. At least the L is for Lee. Okay. I am Chair Lady of Labor and Industry. And I work closely and side by side with Chris Courtner. You guys might know him. He's been there for quite some time. We investigate complaints for housing, education, and employment. So if you guys have any complaints for housing, employment, or education, you will come see me or Chris. I'm a paralegal as well, so I handle the complaints. And this year we investigated 69 cases. We resolved 25 and mediated 29. So again, if you guys have any questions, need any issues with those three things that I just mentioned, the employment, education, and housing, you will come see me, file a complaint with our office. And again, now we have somebody who wanted to say, where'd she go? She wanted to say something else, but she done dished out on me.
All right, thank you, Chair Lady Parson. Now we're going to hear from Chairman Lepla with legal redress, then followed by Chairman Winburn, economic development, and Chair Lady Smith with housing, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. I'm the lawyer on the executive committee. We have a legal redress committee, but it involves a lot of things that sound beyond redress, including in this past year reviewing information concerning the red light referendum and advising the president and executive committee on that, coordinating efforts with other organizations and the unit over the Good Samaritan Hospital closing issues, which continue, of course. Attending and providing comments from a legal standpoint on various issues arising at executive committee meetings, coordinating with other executive committee members and other members of the organization on issues outside the executive committee meeting. Late in the year, we were involved in election protection efforts, coordinated with the national NAACP and with other national voter protection organizations. That day we solved dozens of problems and feel like we performed a service which could not have occurred but for Second Vice President Roberts bringing us food and coffee throughout the day. So thank you. And the efforts during that election were outstanding. We elected 3 judges in Montgomery County, defeated 2 incumbents, and have finally elected the first African-American male to the General Division, Gerald Parker, who's going to be an outstanding judge. We also elected 2 Supreme Court justices, including the only second elected African-American female to the Ohio Supreme Court. So congratulations to all of you and all voters.
Thank you, Chairman Lepla. Chairman Winburn.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Roland Winburn. I'm the chair of the Economic Development Committee. In the last 12 months, we've had a number of individuals who served on our committee. Some of those individuals come from business. They're business owners. They're international people who are dealing with trade over in Africa. We have a person also with the City of Dayton and their Human Relations Council dealing with business development, a realtor, CPA, also individuals with the social services, Parity, Urban League, and the Dayton Chamber of Commerce Minority Businesses, all are members of that particular committee. In the last 12 months, we've been talking with a number of people from academia, from government agencies, with economic development directors from regional municipalities west of I-75. We've collected facts including published community profiles, economic indicators, and emerging trends. We also included in the committee's review with specific information regarding culture and environment, age, job skills and talent or workforce development, cultivating entrepreneurs, socioeconomic status and building wealth through home ownership and other real estate matters, retirement and investment planning, and intergenerational wealth distribution. In July, we presented a briefing to the general membership. The committee emphasized the process. We wanted it to be data-driven and that the goals and objectives would be both measurable and sustainable. They also wanted goals and objectives to be focused, intentional, and predictive. Another necessary component was to incorporate 3 critical elements of the National NAACP Economic Development Initiatives. They were to empower, ensure, and grow. In the forthcoming weeks, it is expected that the leadership of the Dayton unit would agree whether to support the goals and objectives, and similarly, how they would be implemented over an expected period of time. Once completed, a booklet will be completed and made available in the upcoming year. We're now talking with some journalism students from the University of Dayton, Central State University, Sinclair Community College, and perhaps Wright State University, who will be approached to assist in completing this booklet. I want to thank you very much and for this past year and for all the efforts that we did this past year, and look forward to working with this committee again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Winburn. As Chairlady Smith of Housing makes her way, we want Chairman Ayo Ngunduyile over International Affairs to make his way, and Chairlady Gary over Get Out the Vote. And following her will be Chairlady Hill, Felicia Hill over Health. So if you all can make your way in that order. Chairlady Smith.
Good evening and happy holidays.
Good evening.
Y'all need to wake up a little bit, okay? Get excited. As President Ford said, my name is Deborah Smith. I'm the chairperson of housing for the Dayton unit of NAACP. I should say this too. I've been the chairperson of housing for 6.5 long years. Can I get a hand? No, I'm just joking, but I've really enjoyed it, and I have been reelected for another 2 years. Looking forward to serving you guys again. Also, I wanted to just introduce myself. I think it's kind of important for you all to know who I am. I retired from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base as a contracting officer back in 2009, had 36 years of government service. Okay, thank you. Back in 1986, I started my own real estate, residential real estate investment company, which is still ongoing. So basically, I'm a landlord, all right? And then also, I am, let me see what else I had to say there. Well, served as the chairperson of the NAACP. And some of the things that I've accomplished this year is the general membership meeting. I moderated a workshop entitled Let's Get Our Houses in Order from a financial perspective, okay? And basically I had 2 speakers come in, Brandon McLean, who is our own Montgomery County recorder. He spoke about the fraud alert notification system. How many of you all have heard of that? Okay, great. And basically what it is, he implemented a database whereby if someone is tampering with your deeds or your mortgage, you will be notified immediately, okay? And so what you have to do is go to the recorder's website, put in your contact information, property address, and so forth. And then if somebody ever tampers with your deed or mortgage or whatever, you will be notified. Also, the second speaker was Michael Grooms, who was a financial advisor with Prudential, and he spoke about the importance of credit. Having good credit is very important, because if you don't have good credit, you're paying a lot more money for your car loans, your home loans, etc. Okay, so it's very important to pay your bills on time. Okay? Can I get a hand for that? Now, my charts are a little bit out of order, but back in April, we had a Earth Day celebration. Every year we go out and we clean up the Five Oaks neighborhood. And I'm telling you, it's a mess. For those of you who know where Five Oaks is. But every year we do that. We spend about 4 hours cleaning it up. along with the University of Dayton students, Wright State students, DECA Prep is another participant, and of course, the city of Dayton, because without their trash trucks, we couldn't throw all the trash away in the trucks there. And I want to also recognize my granddaughter. She's not here, Parise Clark. She's only like 7 years old, and she was getting so tired of picking up the trash. She was like, "Granny, can we go home?" But we were out there for 4 hours cleaning up. And then also every year, this is our 5th year of doing that, and Cedric McGee, he's always a participant. So thank you, Cedric. And lastly, back in September, I took it upon myself to ride what is called Ride Along with a City Inspector, just to get an idea of what our neighborhoods are looking like. So it was like a 2-hour ride. We went to the various neighborhoods, and we saw all the blighted homes. And I know the city of Dayton is doing a fantastic job with the downtown. Wouldn't you all agree? We had the Levitt Pavilion, and you had hotels, businesses coming up. However, our neighborhoods are still a little challenging. We need to do some more things with the neighborhoods. And what I may do next year is have one of the managers from the city of Dayton, the housing manager, come out and speak about what they are actually doing in terms of tearing down some of these blighted homes. And I know this year for a fact, they have done a wonderful job in tearing down a lot of the blighted homes that have been sitting there for years in some of the neighborhoods. But Ken Jackson was a housing inspector. One of the things he told me that they actually inspect over 10,000 houses in a year. That is a lot. And guess how many inspectors they have? 10 inspectors for the whole city of Dayton. So they can no longer be proactive people. You guys are going to have to get on your phones and call them 333-4800. 333-4800 if you see violations. And then they also have a Dayton Deliver app where you can go for these young people to get on their apps. You can also report violations that way as well. And so that's all of my report, but I wanted to leave you guys with something that I read recently, and I thought it was so profound, is a quote from Thomas Monson. And it says, "The past is behind." So don't live in your past, okay? The past is behind. Learn from it. The future is ahead. Prepare for it. Especially young people going to school. Prepare for your future, because it's going to come before you know it. And then lastly, the present is here. Live it. And that's all I have. Thank you, and you all have a wonderful holiday.
All right, thank you. Chairman Ayo Ogunduyile, International Affairs, followed by Chairlady Gary, get out the vote, followed by Chairlady Gary, get out the vote, Chairlady Hill, Health, and rounding us off, Chairman Williams with Armed Services and Veteran Affairs, so if you can make your way.
Good evening to all. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. I'm in charge of international affairs, and just to share with you some of the information I shared with the community this year. During the month of February, I traveled back home to Nigeria on a personal visit, and I spoke to Dr. Olagere, and that is based on the meeting that we had in March, whereby I moderated the Dayton Unit NAACP meeting, bringing Honorable Victor Bashuyi to speak to us about the United African States. And the president of the United African States, 54 countries of Africa, is Dr. Olagere. So I spoke to him while I was in Nigeria with regards to the program, and I have spoken to Elijah Cummings, who is a congressman in Washington, D.C., with regards to the United African States. One of the things I want to share with you today is this. United African States comprises of 54 African countries coming together, and they have started this back in 2010. And a lot of African head of states are actually part of this program. What they want to develop is more businesses within the continent and more businesses with people outside the continent, and to give folks opportunity to travel to those countries without even visas, so that you can leave here and go to London. You want to be able to do the same thing going to South Africa, Johannesburg, or Lagos, Nigeria, or anywhere in Africa. So we moderated the meeting here in March this year, and we shared the information with the community. So we'd like for you to stay in touch with us with regards to that. I attended the NAACP convention, National Convention in San Antonio, where I met with Hilary Shelton and Dr. David Gottlieb. These are the two front leaders in Washington in international affairs. And we discussed further programs to move some of these programs forward with the United African States. I attended the Dr. Martin Luther King banquet here, and I tried to involve a lot of organizations that are internationally connected here. The Nigerian Women Cultural Organization were there to represent them and themselves, and I plan to bring more of these groups to our future programs. And we have done the same thing with NAACP before, and we're going to do that again. I share with the community action alert, NAACP highlighting the issue of the present administration separating children from parents at the southern border. You are aware of that. I think one girl died just about 2 or 3 days ago. The president of NAACP, Derrick Johnson, has actually labeled this as immoral and un-American. Lastly, shared information with the NAACP family here with the organization's continued support of lifting trade and travel bans on Cuba. If you remember, President Obama was in Cuba before he left office, and he thought that things were going to follow in that realm and broaden, the program. However, we are actually at a standstill right now, and hopefully things will move in a better direction in the future. Just to let you know where Derrick Johnson stands, he is behind lifting this and having a communication with our brothers and sisters in Cuba. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Chair Lady Gary, get out the vote.
Get out the vote. Is everyone in this room a registered voter? Wonderful. That makes my job easy. For the year 2018, I'm responsible for getting the vote out. So I conducted PSAs, which is public service announcements. I'm a church captain at my church, so I did my first PSA at my church, which is to inform and educate the people to vote. Then I also spoke to my class at our class picnic at Sinclair Park, and then I collaborated with my state president at the Dayton Boys and Girls Club Community Outreach Day. They allowed me to do vote PSA over there. So I discussed vote, which gives us victory over the enemy. So if you are a vote, you become a voter. Then you have voted, and then we all are voting. A little rap for you. Conducted voter registration drives at the following: Huber Heights Community Room for 3 days. However, we had a few people to show up, but the community room was in the police department, so people weren't too interested. I also did the Dayton African American Cultural Festival. We had quite a bit of voter registration there. And at the McIntosh Park Community Day, collaborated with Eric and Stacy, and we got voter registration there. And it was a good community outreach program. They ate, I ate, and they received clothing. And of course, I had to hit the ground running, passing out flyers and leaflets. I was at Shiloh, I was at the Dayton Boys and Girls Club. Anywhere I went, Kroger's, you saw a flyer from me. So I did Huber Heights and Dayton, and I also did Souls to the Polls to get people to come out and vote on the general election. Thank you very much. May we all have a wonderful holiday, and we must vote. Our lives are at stake.
Thank you. Chair Lady Hill, Health.
Hi, you all. Can you hear me? I know you can, but anyway. I'm Felicia Hill, the chair of the Health Committee, and I thank you for each and every one of you coming out. And I wanted to thank the NAACP because each person up here is a volunteer. Understand that. So, but my report comes to you today where I hosted and moderated the Dayton NAACP community meeting, ceasefire, meaning who's marching for our youth? You know, who's out crying out when there's violence against one another? So I marched, hosted that and had restorative justice. You guys say restorative justice. Make sure that you look it up because it's instrumental and it's impactful on renewing and also making sure that those individuals who have committed criminal activity, they're just not thrown away. They're also able to see the impact that they've made in the community in a negative way. So what this does, it creates an environment for those people who have been perpetrated the crime on, those persons who perpetrated the crime, and to bring wholeness back to the situation, restorative justice. So I also participated with Alicia Pagan and Trotwood Madison. She is the Spanish teacher there, which is the Dayton, there you go. Welcome, thank you. Between Dayton, Dr. Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez. Now, Chavez was a Hispanic worker who organized the migrant workers. So we're trying to champion a day to get him recognized too, because that's another unsung hero who modeled after Dr. Martin Luther King's model of nonviolence, but also organizing. Now, last but not least, my 2 minutes, partnered with the Community Engagement Branch of Everyone Reach One, Dayton Montgomery County Infant Mortality Task Force. You guys, Montgomery County is number 4 in the nation for infant mortality. Check this out. For every one a Caucasian baby that's dies, 3 of African Americans, and that's including those who are highly educated. So it has an impact on our community. What is infant mortality? I'm gonna tell you real quick and then I'm gonna sit down. From birth to 1 year old, those babies who have died. We can prevent this. So therefore I have partnership with that to raise awareness because it has an impact. Our stress levels of African American women is affecting the birth of our children and the survival of our children. And our children are our future. Restorative justice.
Thank you, Chair Lady Hill. Chairman Williams, Armed Services and Veteran Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. And good evening, everyone. My name is Terrence Williams. I'm a retired Air Force. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize our vets in the house. So if we have some vets in the house, please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service. We moderated a meeting last month. The title was Services Available and Provided to Local Veterans. We had leadership from 5 different agencies, including the director of the VA. We had a lot of question and answering sessions, and they provided a lot of information to our veterans on resources available to them in the area. I think we'll continue to do that each year for Veterans Month. Also provided resume writing assistance to veterans seeking federal employment jobs. My background is in HR, and I provide that assistance. So if you know of anyone looking for assistance in that area, please contact the NAACP and they'll get a hold of me on that. I participated in activities involving veterans of the Dayton VA and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I serve on the executive committee at American Legion, Post 776, and we all know the Legion helps our veterans in different areas and services. I also serve on the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Career Development Board, where I monitor how they represent, make sure they have fair representation for their programs and activities on base. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Williams. So you've heard all the various committee reports, and I entertain a motion at this time to receive the committee reports. So who is that moved by? Moved by Commissioner Mims, second by Sergeant at Arms Ellington. Questions? Yes.
Dr. President, I just have one comment. For those of you who don't know, I chaired the souvenir booklet with the help of our great Dr. President. However, there was a comment made about Amer Temple and our potentate. And for the record, Amer Temple took out an ad as well as a purchase ticket for the Freedom Fund banquet. So I don't want you to leave here thinking that Amer Temple and the potentate did not do anything. Thank you.
All right. Any other unreadiness? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much. And a lot of times people think or try to hold the NAACP in a small little box and think that all we do is casework, or you may see me on TV, or you may read something that I said inside the news. But as you can see, the organization is a lot larger than just what you may, the snippet you may see on TV or what you may read in the newspaper. There are more committees than there is a president of this organization. And let's give these committee chairs a hand for the work that they do for this organization. And that's in addition to the ones who are not committee chairs. So if you are not a committee chair and you serve on the executive committee, can you just stand where you are and be recognized? If you serve on the executive committee and you're not a committee chair. Those are the individuals that make the wheels turn at the Dayton unit NAACP. Unfinished business, as you can see, we still have on here the house located. We have a house located at 1732 West 1st Street. We're looking for someone, if you know anybody that would like to demolish that house for us for free, that would be great, so we can use that land for productive use. It's a house that really just needs to be torn down and leveled, and then we can use that. We basically can repurpose that land and or think about selling that land as is. We were not supposed to, and just for the record, since we are being recorded, that house was actually, we acquired that house in 2006, not under the leadership of President Ford. It was under a prior administration. Because the reason I say that is the NAACP is not supposed to own any property, but this was from a prior administration. So just for the record on that. So if you know anybody that is interested in or has a demolition company that they wouldn't mind doing that for us, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can just call our office and let us know. Now we're rounding out to the end here so that we can get on to the tasty food of Outback Steakhouse. And before I forget, hey, Andy, where's Andy at? Andy and staff. Okay, this is Andy Adair. Andy Adair is the managing partner at the Outback Steakhouse on Miller Lane. And I just want to and he's been doing this for at least about the past 4 or 5 years in partnership. So please, sir, please, ma'am, please support his business at an Outback Steakhouse on Miller Lane. And Andy, once again, we appreciate you. Let's show him and his staff some appreciation. As you can see on the agenda, it says the 2018 annual branch election ballot, Dayton Unit NAACP. We have our ballot here. The Little John Jr. Youth Council, we have their ballot here. The Dayton Youth Council, I don't know if they have their ballot or not. And then the Move Forward Thurgood Marshall High School chapter. Do you have your ballot? No, okay. You'll take care of that later. Okay, so for the Dayton Unit NAACP, We are, it's being recommended by our leadership team here, and our VPs. There's 7, we can only pick 7 people and these are national board seats. So with the national board seats, there's actually 8 names on here, and we only can choose 7. It's being recommended that these 7 names that will go forward from the Dayton unit NAACP. Catherine Eglin, Scott Esdale, James Gallman, Leonard James, Howard Jefferson, Jesse Turner, Richard Womack. And then for Region 3, we can only pick, we are in Region 3. There are 7 regions in Region 3. We are known as Midwest Region 3. And that is Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. So once a year, they actually elect somebody to serve regionally. And so there's 2 names on the ballot. We can only choose 1. And once again, our executive leadership is, so the 2 names is Teresa Haley and Wendell Harris. We did get information from Teresa Haley, and the leadership is recommending Teresa Haley. So at this time, I move for adoption of our ballot, so I move for adoption of our ballot. Well, just move. Okay, is there a second? It's been probably moved in second to accept the names that we just stated. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Let me just look at the Little John Junior Youth Council's ballot. So on the Little John Junior Youth Council's ballot, so I want to ask Madam President and their advisor, you all have the same ballot with the exception of the Region 3 representative. So as I look at this ballot, are you all wanting to do the same names that we did as an adult unit? Talking to the advisor and the president. I can't hear anybody. Oh, they say yes? Oh, do you have to answer today? No. What'd you say? Oh, well, we were hoping to get through our annual meeting to do it, yes. But you don't have to. Do you have a meeting scheduled, another meeting scheduled? Okay, good. All right. So with that, we'll move forward, to our award presentations. And but before I go there, so 2019 calendar of events. You all should have received, if you actually at the door, you should have received a 2019 calendar of events. It should be a double-sided sheet that gives you all of our meeting dates. And if you look at those meeting dates, you will see that on the 4th, basically primarily on the 4th Monday of every month is our general membership meeting. And if you look at that calendar events, you will notice that it talks about the committee chair that's going to actually be presenting. So for instance, on January 28th, Communications, Press, and Publicity will be presenting in that particular month. Then if you look at February 25th, Legal Redress presentation. So each one of our committee chairs are charged with actually coming up with their own guest speakers, their own topic, and then they will discuss and moderate a particular meeting. So we're informing, educating, and empowering the community to make good decisions. So you should have that. And then the Dayton Unit NAACP 52nd inauguration ceremony is going to be January 10th, 2019. The location is yet to be determined. We used to have it at the RTA Cultural Center, but from my understanding, that is now closed down. So we need to find another location. Our next executive committee meeting date is January 22nd, and our next monthly community meeting is going to be on January the 28th, in which all citizens are welcome to attend. So with that, in the award presentations, I actually have 4 awards to present here this evening. And then our secretary just reminded me as well, there's something that's a she I guess we overlooked on the agenda. I'm sorry about that, so we'll get back to that too. So with that, we have a Life Membership Award. And if we can have the president of the Little John Junior Youth Council to come up, President Hayes, if you can come up for a second. As she is coming, I want to get you these other two awards. And, well, President Hayes, come on up here, President Hayes. She's going to present this award to somebody here today. This is actually a Life Membership Award. Tell the name of that.
Elena Brooklyn Tisdale. Can a representative come up?
And as she is coming, this is our treasurer's mother, and she has been very, very, very vigilant at asking her people from down south to actually get life memberships in the Dayton unit NAACP. So we certainly appreciate you. It's actually, this is probably about the fifth one that she's done. So I'll let you present this to her, and you all can take a picture right there. There you go. Thank you. And thank you for all you do. We certainly appreciate you working with your family way down in Alabama to do that for our youth. Thank you.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama. All right. Can you hear her now? I have 3 community outreach awards. This first one says Dayton Unit NAACP Community Outreach Award. Presented to Jamie Simpson. Is Jamie Simpson here? I think I've seen her come in. Jamie Simpson. It says, as she's coming, this says, in recognition of the leadership you provided on the photo enforcement camera ballot initiative, spearheaded by the Dayton Unit NAACP, the effort you put in collecting signatures was absolutely remarkable. Advocating for the civil and human rights of all Americans is simply the right thing to do. Signed by Clara Mae Thompson, Secretary, Dr. Derek L. Forward, President. Thank you very much for your hard efforts. Even though we didn't get where we wanted to go, but your work in doing this initiative did not go unnoticed, and we appreciate you. Thank you. And in his role as state president, our 2 VPs, come on up. And also our secretary, since her name is on the plaque. And our other 2 officers, come on up. Here you go. Here you go.
Okay.
Y'all stay on up here for a second. Oh, she? Oh, good. This next award, actually these next 2 awards are basically almost the same award. But what I want to say about this is when it comes to activism, sometimes you may have somebody that may punt the ball, and then you may have somebody that may then advance the ball. So you may have a quarterback that throws the ball for 5 yards, and then that wide receiver takes that ball on to the touchdown. So where I'm going with this is we have 2 different people that we would like to recognize for their work on something. And we're going to bring that forth here in just a second. But this says Dayton Unit NAACP Community Outreach Award. Can you hold that for a second? Presented to Nicole Miller. If you can come up, Nicole Miller. And then also, Dayton Unit NAACP Community Outreach Award presented to Jamaica Garrison. Jamaica, if you can come up for a second, please. And let's see, because we want to, well, I want to read this, and then we go get it, and then we take the picture. This says, Dayton Unit NAACP Community Outreach Award presented to Nicole Miller. There was a conversation that was held between these two young ladies, and in that conversation, Nicole brought something up to Jamaica, something that she experienced in Chicago, Illinois. So the seed was planted. So she was the quarterback, the seed was planted. But then you had to have somebody to advance the ball. And that's where Jamaica Garrison comes into play. Amongst their conversation, she advanced that ball, and as a result of her advancing that ball, I'm going to get some here in 1 second, but this says, in recognition of the leadership you provided as it relates to the closing of the Aldi grocery store in the West Town Shopping Center, your activism is the reason why many citizens have access to a pop and shop grocery cart today. Advocating for the civil and human rights of all Americans is simply the right thing to do. And for those of you who don't know what this pop and shop grocery cart is, we're about to show you. So Nicole Miller, thank you for your activism. Jamaica Garrison, thank you for your activism. And if you see one of these rolling around Dayton, Ohio somewhere, and I'm quite certain you've seen them in different places, but it's because these two young ladies worked together when that store closed to ensure, we couldn't stop it from closing, but we did get a nugget. And that nugget is this: for our seniors who need to go get groceries other places and may not have a car, but they can put it inside this grocery cart to ensure that they have access to food and the other items they need. So, ladies, we appreciate you for that. All right. And just to let you know, as part of my report, I mentioned inside of my report, it was the name of an organization, and that organization was Neighborhood Over Politics, started by 3 women. And I see the other one is here today, Crystal Turner. If you can stand up, is that right? Oh, that's her mama. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Not Crystal. Shanice Turner. I don't know why I said Crystal. Well, I know why I said Crystal because I worked with her mother before I knew her at the at a center at a what you call that? What kind of center was that? It was a computer center out in Trotwood. So Shanice Turner, please stand to be recognized. So Shanice Turner, and then also the other young lady who's with y'all group is Joelle Jones. So those 3 young ladies made up the Neighborhood Over Politics. But I would just say for anybody who has the courage to stand up and lead, continue to stand up and lead, and do its place inside of your heart, and it'll pay off in the end. So with that, I think we come to the conclusion of our meeting. It is now 8:00 p.m. We didn't make the 7:30, but oh, that's right. Okay, so hold on for a second. Our secretary has something. Okay, sorry about that.
All right, one more time again. What I'm about to present is very interesting. So we all like Dr. President Derek Ford, right? Right? Come on, give it up for the man, right? Sure we do. So I don't know if you recognize this voice or not, but there was an NAACP presidential survey that went out not once, not twice, but 3 times, and it may have annoyed you. It was me. Okay. With that being said, there was a question, and the question was, overall, do you approve of the job that President Dr. Derek Ford, L. Ford, is doing as the president of the NAACP and the direction he is leading the organization in, right? You remember that? Okay, so a lot of you did take time out to respond. So in all confidentiality, I am that secret elf who found out what those results look like. So as far as the executive committee results go, drum roll please. The presidential approval rating was 97%. Now, you know Dr. Forward was looking for 100, right? And that's okay because he works just that hard. So I was really shocked to get the results back for 97%. Because what that says to us as a community or to the executive committee, there was just one person who does not approve of the leadership and the direction in which he has taken us. But that's okay. We're going to work on you, whoever you are. All right. As it goes with the general membership results, drum roll, please. Jamie, are you ready? President Forward. Here we go. 100. Yes. 100%. Congratulations. Yes, he is definitely doing it. So that will conclude the results of the survey. But now, that may have taken care of 1 or 2 of you in here, but somebody still did not choose to use their voice. And because you did not, it's okay. Secretary's gonna give you one more time. Y'all putting me to work, but it's okay. I don't mind doing it for the president. So if you did not take advantage of that last robocall that I've just put out, tonight is the night. Don't feel bad if you didn't. We're not, trying to put you out there. But if you did not get a chance to vote and you want to be heard, then this is your opportunity. If you did not get a chance to vote or respond, please raise your hand, and the guys in the blue shirt, security, will bring it to you. Once security does that, it's confidential, right? Raise your hands up high. It's okay. We're not going to arrest you. It's a vote. It's a voice. We will not arrest you for that. Security, let me see my hands. Hurry now, the food is getting cold. Okay, so even if you don't raise your hand, you can always tug their shirts later on as we are fellowshipping. That's fine. And you see this beautiful box there? Jamie, go stand next to the beautiful box. Be quick, girl. Work it out. That's the exercise coming out. Let's do it. Okay, pick it up, Jamie. Come on, use those legs. Okay, so the pretty box is confidentiality. So once you have completed it, you can lay it inside of the beautiful box. Okay? That's all you have to do. Is just that simple. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And sorry I missed that at the beginning. I probably was kind of scared what the results was going to be. That's why I probably skipped it. But okay. All right, but anyway, this brings us to the last item on our agenda. So now we're ready for our meal prepared by Outback Steakhouse. So the Dayton Unit NAACP 2018 annual meeting is adjourned.